Hi, it's your boy David, and I want to actually show you a quick practice that we can try with Flexbox. And I found this website example here, so let's try to. Well, we're not gonna do the whole thing because I mean this is not ours, but let's kind of see how we can add Flexbox to make this website. So the whole layout here. Actually, let's do maybe the nav because that's interesting. This section up here and maybe this one here. All right, because this is an interesting case here where we have two columns, but we have the picture here, but the text goes this way. So by that logic, if you remember in Flex, if you had display Flex, then all of our content goes this way, like in a horizontal line. So how do we fix this issue? So we're gonna get into that. These are actually very simple to make, and I'm actually gonna add one or two more pages to the final projects, so we have more to experiment with and to practice. Okay, but generally let's go with this. So let me just zoom in. Does this work? Yes. Let's try to recreate this part first. All right, let's just do this. Let's not add this for now. Just keep it fast and simple. So what I'm gonna do is we are gonna go into VS Code, and I'm starting this from scratch, so you can start this from scratch if you want to. I'm just gonna add an index.html, and to generate a boilerplate, remember you can do shift and exclamation point, and if you hit tab, bada boom, we have it. So this website is called, I don't remember, Flourish Collective. So let's just do this. All right, and we're gonna move on straight to Flexbox. We're not gonna add the meta tags and all of those. We're gonna do those in the final projects. Let's also create a style.css. I'm writing this with one hand. All right. I didn't sleep that much last night, so I apologize. Okay, let's link it that we need to do. So let's do that, link, and we do style sheet, and boom, perfect. Okay. So that's a good start. Let's also open up this with live server. So when we do that, we are gonna see that we have absolutely nothing. Lovely. Okay, what do we have here? So let's create this. So we basically have a header with a nav, and we have the logo right here in the middle. So to add that, all we have to do is create a header like this, and in here we're gonna add a nav that has a unordered list with some links. All right, and these are A tags, but for now, let's just add home. Let's say contact. I'm not sure what the site says there. Shall we take a look? Courses, blog, shop. Okay, let's just do two more. Copy, courses, and blog. All right, and actually in here, in between the middle, we also have a H1 that says Flourish Collective. Perfect. So that's it. That's the first part. Okay, the second part is just some text there with a background image and a button. So let's add that. We're just gonna go outside of the header here, and what I'm gonna do is just create a section, and I'm gonna call this a hero. So you can also do this. You can see section.hero, and that's gonna create a section with the class of hero. Quick shortcuts. Wow, amazing. Okay. So in here, what I want to have is, let's see, just a H2 and a button. So let's add a H2 that says, want to turn your passion project into profitable creative business. Do I remember that? Want to create a profitable business model with cash? I forgot. It's okay. It's okay. We move on. Let's go here. We create a button, enroll to the course. So let's do a button, enroll to the course. This is a long button, enroll course. Let's just shorten this up. Okay, so that's the second part, and let's also make another one. Let's do this one because I want to show you something cool. So by the logic, we have another section here, right? This whole big thing, and we have an image, some headers, and some paragraphs. So I'll do it this way, but we're gonna have some issues with this, but it's okay because we're gonna fix it. So this is called the introductory section. So let's just say intro. Okay, class intro. Here we're gonna have an image. And let's add a H2 that says, hey there, I'm David. All right, and we have some paragraphs here as well. Let's say lorem 10. Let's just duplicate these a few more times. Maybe delete a bit from here. Maybe delete a bit from here. So they're not the same height, the same length. Okay, let's also get 2 images. So let's go back to the browser and let's go on Pexels. Lovely. I actually got 2 images. I think I wrote, let's see, what did I write? Laptop. Let's search and make sure to download these 2 images that I got. I don't know which images I got. This one, all right, and click here and get the large one. Okay, this one. And I also got, let me take a look. Never mind. Let's just get this one. I think I have it downloaded somewhere, but I'm just gonna drag it in here for now. Okay, which other image did I get? You know what, let's just get a random one. Let's do this. And for this one, let's also do large and drag this in here as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is up here, we're just gonna drop the MacBook Pro iPhone Cup Desk one. And let's also add a alternative tag here, laptop with iPhone, and hit save. Okay, perfect. So that's kind of the whole markup. Now, if we take a look in the browser, this is going to be a bit nasty. And the reason why is because this is going to take up the whole screen. So for now, let's just go in the CSS. And on the image, I just want to kind of change the height of this to something like 2 rem. All right, just to make this extremely small so it doesn't take up the whole space. We're going to fix this eventually. But for now, let's just make it small so we can see the rest of the content. Okay. Let's do the first steps, which are removing the basic styles. So we're gonna say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. Hit save. All right, so that removes all the additional spacing. Let's also get the anchor tags, and I'm gonna add a color of black to these, okay? Just like that. And let's remove the text decoration and say none. Okay, good. And now what I wanna do is kind of put them in the same line. So how do we do that? Well, we know that we can add display flex, but how do we add that? So what do we need to add it to? Well, if I add it to nav, nothing's gonna happen because it's gonna display flex its child, which is the UL. So yeah, it's the only child here, so nothing's gonna happen. However, if we add it to the UL, then these are gonna go horizontally. So what we need to do is just add display flex to the UL. So let's go back here and add nav UL display flex. Hit save. Let's take a look. And as you can see, everything goes in one line, which is perfect, which is what I want. And now what we can do is just go here. And now you can also add height if you want. But I'm gonna kind of show you the benefits and the downsides of adding heights. Generally, I think it's a better idea to just add padding to your stuff. So let's say padding, I'll just show you an example here. Oh, and before we do that, let's also change the rem size. So let's go HTML and we're gonna say font size 62.5%, okay? Okay, so everything is very small now, but that's fine. I'll just zoom in for now before we adjust the font sizes. So what I want to do now, you know what, actually let's just get rid of this because I don't want to focus on adding fonts and making everything look pretty. I just want to focus on Flexbox. So let me kind of show you what's up. If I add a padding of like 2 rem to this UL, as you can see, it makes a lot of space here. Okay, and let's also add a background color to this. Background light blue. Okay, so you can see it there. Now, the problem is sometimes your height can get very tricky. Right now, if I collapse this like this, as you can see, it's very hard to see, but I can still scroll through this and the height stays the same. So I don't have an issue here with the height. However, if I remove the padding and I add a height of 10 VH, all right, so I have my thing there, If I start collapsing this, then as you can see, some weird things happen. Since the height gets really small, since this is responsive and it's 10% of the viewport height, as soon as it gets very small, the text kind of breaks and it leaves outside of the container. So in case you have some kind of problems where the text might get out of the container, it's because you probably have a set height. All right, and that is why a lot of people say that, hey, don't set heights to things. Generally, it's very good to just let the content take up the size of the height. However, there is still a way you can do it. If you really want, you can do a min height, because sometimes you might want to do things like this, right? You might want to have a full page here, and I want this to this page, I want it to take up 100% of my screen. So I want this to be like 10 VH and this 90 VH, right? I don't want some weird spacing like this or something like this to happen, right? I want this full screen. So the way you can achieve that is you can add a min height here. And now if we take a look, this shouldn't destroy and it shouldn't leave my content like that. And now what we can do is we can add that padding back, and everything still works fine. So I can do 1 rem here. So I can still have my padding going, which is nice, and nothing breaks. But this is still 10 VH, which is nice. But as soon as we get super small, well, it doesn't really matter because we can scroll now. But I just wanted to point this out for fun because I know I had a lot of issues with this in the past. Okay, so as you can see now it grows on its own, but let's get back to Flexbox. So what can we do with this? Well, we saw that we added display flex and that put everything in the same line. And now take a look how simple this is. To align everything in the center here, all we can do is add a justify content. Let's do a space around maybe. And look at that. Everything is the way we want it to work. So how awesome is this? Flexbox makes it super easy for us to create these layouts. Now, maybe I don't want that much. Maybe I want these to be closer to each other here. So in that case, what I could do is maybe I can restrain the width of this. So I can add a width of something like 80% like this, right? And now the container is not that big. So now what I can do, if you remember, is we can add a margin auto, and that's gonna center it in the middle like that. Okay, but for this one, let's keep it simple. It's fine like this, there's nothing wrong. However, as you can see, it's still not centered in the middle vertically. So again, all we can do is just add in line items, and that's gonna put everything perfectly in the center. So, how easy is this? All right, so let's take a look what we want to do next. Yeah, everything works the way I want. It's perfect. We can remove these text list style if we want, but let's kind of move on to the next part. And I'm also going to remove the background color because we don't need this anymore. Okay, so we have everything on the UL. Let's go on to the hero section, which is this. So again, here what we can do is grab the hero and we can add a minimum height of 90 VH. And now, as you can see, we have all the screen size and the space. And as soon as I start scrolling, we have the rest of the content. So now we can add a background image to this by saying background. Where are you, Mr. Background image? Here it is. And we can say URL. So we can pass in a URL. And in here, we can add some quotes and slide a dash. Not dash, what is this? Slasher. And then we can add our, what are we using? Silver, black, laptop, blah, blah, blah. Hit save. There it is. Gorgeous. Now there's a problem. As soon as we resize, it's not responsive. Okay? Because it's trying to contain itself into this box. So what we can do is change this to background size cover, and then it's going to adapt based on the size of our viewport. So we can say background. Where are you? Background size, and we can do cover. And as you can see, it says Oh, it doesn't say anything. Okay, but as you can see, if we make this larger, it's gonna stretch all the way out nicely like that. Perfect. And let's also move this to the center. So I want background position. And I'm gonna move it to the center. If I can find it, background, sometimes I don't wanna type, but VS Code makes me type. Ugh. Center, lovely. There we go. So now I can see the full laptop in view. And now how can we move these nicely in the middle here? So let's take a look at how we can do that. We can go here to the hero section again. And remember, let's take a look what content we have in this hero section. Well, we have the H2 and the button. So that means we can apply display flex to this. And also let's change the color to white first so we can actually see what's going on in here. Okay, so there we go. That's what we have, and we want to put it in the middle. Well, we can add a display flex again. So you're gonna be flexing 24/7 with this display flex. We're gonna use this so much that it's gonna be in your brain forever. So as you can see now, if I add display flex now, this comes here and this comes here, but I don't want this. I still want to keep that behavior of these going in a column. I just want to have the ability to use the justify content and align items. That's kind of the main reason why you want to use display flex now. So don't worry, we can change back the behavior by doing flex direction, and we change it back to column. All right, so we are back at the same thing, but now we can use align items and justify content. So I can use align items center, and it's perfectly gonna center it here. And then what we can do to align it here is you just use justify content. And now, before I do that, as you can see now, align items drops it horizontally in the center. And the reason why that happened is because we changed the flex direction. And remember, when we put column, these two change. Okay, so here we can just do center. But if you do center, it's like whatever anyway. So now if I want to give some spacing in between these, I can just add some padding and margin, and that's completely fine. If you want to push this content up a bit, maybe like here. Oh, as you can see, this one actually breaks into 2 lines. So let me show you actually something in HTML that we can do. Let's also add more text, creative business. Okay, so let's go here and add comma, creative business. All right. And what I can do is actually go here wherever I want, and I can add a break tag like this, and that's going to break the text into 2. So if we take a look now, as you can see, it breaks the text into 2, but this still looks kind of weird. So what we can do is get the hero. I believe we have a H2. We can grab this and we can add a text align of center. And now everything is very nice. All right, what we can do is just add a bit of margin to this. So we can say margin of 2 rem. Let's take a look. Is that okay? That's okay. Perfect. Let's get this button, add a bit of height, add just a bit of padding to it, make it look semi-okay. We can do that by adding a padding of 1 rem, 2 rem, and just change the background and the border on it. Background, let's do a light something and get rid of that border and say none. Okay, so something like that. Let's make something halfway nice looking. I want to go something bright. A bright green. Wow, lovely, perfect. So as you can see, we finished the section. Not even that hard, huh? And everything is scaling as well, which is cool. And look, we barely wrote any CSS code. Okay, this last part is tricky because I told you here that we have these 2 sections, all right? We have this, my apologies, we have one big section, but we have this image and some text here. And by our logic, if we add these display flex to this section, all of our content is going to go horizontally, but this goes in a column. So how do we do that? How do we fix this issue? Okay, let's go back here to our image and copy this from up here and add it down here. Okay, and let's just increase the size of this a bit. Let's do 5 rem. Let's do 20. All right, so it's like 200 pixels. It's a set amount of pixels, but it is fine. So here, what I can do is, Let's see what happens if I add display flex to the intro section, okay? So we can get the intro, display flex. Hit save. Oh no, all of our content runs the way I thought it would, is this way, right? But I just want the image and the rest of them to stay intact. So the way you can fix that is you can add display flex to this, which is fine, but we can wrap the rest of our content in another div. And then the image and the div is going to be displayed flex, which is perfect because that's what we want to go for. So let's wrap everything here into a div. I'm not sure how I wrapped it, but I broke the code. So let's go back here, cut this and paste it again, hit save. All right, why is this removing my div? That's superbly strange. All right, div. I'll delete it and I'll just go down here and close it up. That's very weird. Okay, now it works. See, as you can see now, it fixes all of our issues, which is super nice. For this one, I'm also going to add a class of intro text. And if you find it hard to visualize, you can add some background colors to these divs. So here, what you can do is you can add a background color to this, which is the image, and you can add a background color to this div if you find yourself a bit struggling to visualize Flexbox. Okay, but this is our result. So perfect. So now what I can do is go here to style.css and we can select everything that we have. So we have the intro section here. Let's say, what else do we want to get? We want to get the intro image. Oh, I misspelled this, intro text, like that. We want to get the intro image and the intro text. Intro image, intro text. Okay, I'm gonna remove this from here to here and delete this because it's the same thing. Okay, so what I want to do is add a flex 1 to this because I want these to be equal sizes, just like here. As you can see, this is equal size, this is equal size. So what I'm gonna do is add that flex. I'm gonna say flex 1, 1, and 10, or yeah, let's do 10 rem. Okay, and what this means, if you forgot, is this is flex grow, this is flex shrink, and this is the flex spaces. So this should be the default size of it anyways, but we can make it grow. So if we add the same thing here, now it should be the same size. As you can see, just like that. Perfect. However, this is kind of acting a bit strange. It's kind of longer, this image here. This is not really the behavior I want to have. But if I change the height to something like 40, as you can see, the image is kind of, it doesn't care. It's going to take up like a bunch of space here anyway. So let me show you another way where we can make this very nice. So what I'm going to do is actually remove the, let's just remove the, let's put something like 10 here. And I'm going to remove this last line from the image. Okay. And I'm actually going to remove the image and show you. Let's get rid of this for now. And what we can do is just add another div here. And I'm going to call this a image container. So I'm going to add a class of intro image. All right. And hit save. So I'm going to go down here and add an intro image. And this one, I'm going to add the flex 1 and 1. Okay. There we go. So now what I want to do is add a background color. So this is a bit easier to see. Background of light blue, and let's do a background of something like light coral and hit save. So this is a problem that you might have. As you can see now, it's perfectly the same size, which is what we want. And when we go smaller, all right, well, let's increase this with something like 20 and 20. Let's go down here. Oh, okay, I forgot to add also a flex wrap. So let's go here to the parent, which is the intro, and add a flex wrap. And say wrap, save. And now, as you can see, as soon as I got smaller than that 20, It's gonna wrap automatically. Okay, anyway, let's also give a bit of space here just so I can demonstrate something for you. 50 VH. So you might experience a lot of issues with these images when you try to add an image and maybe another div next to it. So I think it's a good idea to also create a div for the image, and then you drop the image into this div, and then you constrain it to the size of this. Okay, so let's try to do that and let's see if that works a bit better. So what we can do is inside this div now, we can drop in our image, and we can link to that MacBook, and hit save. All right, so there it is. And now what I can do is actually remove this height from here. And on the image, what I want to do is just add that width 100%. So it takes up the width of that div. And if we do it like this, you're going to see that it's actually working very nicely. So there we go. Take a look at that. It still maintains that width, and this is growing the way it's supposed to grow. Let's also make this text nice looking. So what we can do is on this section, we can also add a display flex. So on here, we can say display flex, and we can add a flex direction column because we don't want this to change in this direction, right? Like that, we don't want that. So let's do flex direction column, and I'm just gonna align everything to the center, line item center and justify content center. Hit save, and we have everything in the center. Let's add some padding to everything. Intro text H2. We're gonna add a padding of 2 rem, and on the intro text P, we're gonna add a padding of 1 rem and hit save. And there we go. We have everything the way we want. Now I forgot to add the button, but generally kind of the same thing happens. Now, as you can see, the thing with this is that our height kind of changes dynamically for this section because we added a width 100 to this. So as soon as we make this grow, the image is going to grow as well. So there we go. As you can see, it stretches even more. Now you can mess around in different ways with this if you want to set a fixed one, but actually I recommend you to leave it like this. This is probably a better solution. And what we can also do is maybe increase, so it hits here, it changes to the mobile view. This is if you don't like how it looks. So what we can do is change this 20 RAM here, our flex spaces, to something like 30 RAM. All right, and this is going to increase it. As you can see, now it's going to hit mobile for us, or it's going to wrap, so it's mobile friendly way sooner. All right, so now it looks nice like this. Okay, there we go. Take a look. How cool. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, so there we go. That's how Flexbox works in a practical way. And yeah, we can slowly start getting into building out projects because you kind of built out a small little website here. So congratulations, you did great. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'll take you out and drink a coffee with you because you deserve it. So let's keep going.